Namaskar and welcome to our special program on the landmark India-New Zealand FTA. Over the next half an hour, we aim to unpack the fine print of the FTA from a business potential point of view. Now, the India and New Zealand Free Trade Agreement. It gives Indian exporters zero duty access. It opens new mobility pathways for students and professionals, and it secures major investment commitments. It also fully protects India's sensitive farm and dairy sectors. Here are the major takeaways.
The India-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement opens the door to new markets, new mobility, and new investments while protecting India's most sensitive sectors. The key takeaways are: New Zealand will eliminate tariffs on 100% of Indian exports from the very first day. That gives India's labor-intensive sectors like textiles, apparel, leather, footwear, engineering goods, gems and jewelry, and processed foods a competitive edge. India's dairy sector is fully protected along with onions, pulses, sugar, edible oils. These exclusions ensure that Indian farmers and small producers remain shielded from import pressure. New Zealand has committed $20 billion over the next 15 years, signaling long-term confidence in India's growth story. Both countries will work together on kiwi fruit, apples, and honey sharing planting material, improving post-harvest practices, and also strengthening supply chains to benefit Indian farmers. For the first time, New Zealand has signed a traditional medicine annex, which opens a structured pathway for Ayurveda, yoga, naturopathy, and Ayush systems. New Zealand has created its first ever student mobility annex, guaranteeing 20 hours of work per week and generous post-study work visa, 3 years for STEM graduates, up to 3 years for master's students, and up to 4 years for PhDs. A new 5,000 visa pathway will support skilled Indian professionals from IT engineers and healthcare workers to Indian chefs, yoga instructors, and also music teachers. Young Indians also gain a working holiday visa, allowing 1,000 people each year to live, travel, and work in New Zealand for up to 12 months. And finally, faster custom clearances, mutual recognition for pharmaceutical inspections, strong rules of origin, and a commitment from New Zealand to upgrade its laws to provide EU-level protection for India's geographical indications.
Acceptance of good manufacturing practices, the GMP and GCP reports, is a game changer for our pharma and medical devices sector, and the dedicated chapter on traditional medicines like Ayush or the Maori practices and recognition of India's GI products adds another chapter in our trade relationship.
This once-in-a-generation agreement delivers opportunities that New Zealand exporters have never had in India. It will deliver thousands of jobs and unleash huge potential for our world-class exporters. Not only will it enhance established business relationships, it will accelerate the development of new partnerships to significantly boost economic engagement and bringing benefits to both of our countries. We see India not only as a major economic partner, but as a country with which we share strong people-to-people links, complementary economies, and a commitment to working constructively together in a changing global environment.
Clearly, the India-New Zealand FTA is a comprehensive, future-focused partnership that expands opportunity while safeguarding India's core interests. Bureau Report, DD India.
From textiles, pharmaceuticals to agricultural products, several sectors in India are expected to benefit from the India-New Zealand FTA. Here's our next report.
The free trade agreement with New Zealand has multifaceted benefits for India across sectors. New Zealand's market access offer covers immediate elimination of duties on 100% of tariff lines of the country. The offer extends gains to several products and sectors like textiles, leather and footwear, transport, pharmaceuticals, plastic and chemicals, and agri-products like fruits and vegetables, coffee and spices. Notably, the gains from import will support domestic industries like coking coal, waste and scrap of ferrous and non-ferrous metals. New Zealand has also agreed to focused action plans for kiwi fruit, apples, and honey to improve productivity, quality, and sectoral capabilities of these fruits' growers in India. Projects for premium apple cultivators and sustainable beekeeping practices will enhance production and quality standards. The partnership goes beyond goods. New Zealand has given India most favoured nation treatment in 139 sectors. New Zealand will also invest $20 billion in India over a period of 15 years, strengthening long-term economic ties.
This agreement is expected to channel $20 billion into India, fueling agriculture, manufacturing, food processing, innovation, and generating jobs and business opportunities across the country.
The gains are expected to boost India's exports, create jobs, and strengthen the competitiveness of Indian industries in the Oceania region. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has called the deal a landmark moment in India-New Zealand partnership. Posting on the microblogging site X, the Prime Minister said that India-New Zealand FTA signed today will add unprecedented momentum to both the nations' developmental partnership. The Prime Minister also said that this agreement will greatly benefit farmers, youth, women, MSMEs, startups, students and innovators. Highlighting the investment commitment of $20 billion by New Zealand, the Prime Minister said that it will strengthen India-New Zealand cooperation in agriculture and manufacturing. And for a view from New Zealand, let's go across now to Wellington, where Soumya Sharma has sent us this dispatch. Soumya, how will this FTA help the Indian community there?
Thank you, Mark. After months and months of anticipation, the free trade agreement between India and New Zealand has finally been signed. It was only last year in November when Mr. Piyush Goyal, the Minister of Commerce and Industries in India, was here for the fourth round of negotiations. And I can tell you that it was a very fruitful meeting with the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Mr. Christopher Luxon, and Mr. Todd McClay, who is the Minister of Trade in New Zealand. And now here we are when the deal has actually been signed. New Zealand is a country that heavily relies on trade and its trading partners. So much so that 1 in 4 jobs is tied to trade. And India, as we all know, is on its way to becoming the 3rd largest economy of the world. And now this deal will actually open and unlock greater major market access for both the countries. For example, it reduces 95% of tariff on New Zealand exports. And that includes a lot of high quality products. For example, there's wool, dairy, honey, seafood. And on the other hand, it will also lead to a lot of money flowing in the economy of New Zealand. India, on the other hand, can actually benefit from New Zealand's expertise in areas like cleaner energy and agriculture and food processing. Also, it will open a lot of career pathways for workers and students in India. And the other thing is the Indian origin businessmen and entrepreneurs in New Zealand will also heavily benefit from this agreement. For instance, they will also be looking at major export-import business happening in the coming time, and a lot of cross-border partnerships happening. And they also actually stand at a chance of gaining greater cultural significance in the country. So these are a few ways that the agreement will actually benefit both the countries, and it will definitely be a turning point for business in the countries. This is Soumya Sharma from Wellington for DD India.
Well, our correspondent Soumya Sharma also spoke to an Indian who has settled in New Zealand and looks forward to setting up a business there, given the opportunities now for labour mobility.
And I've always looked for opportunities to start a business, which was really difficult in the past because of tariffs and other taxes that we have to pay if we export stuff. But I think this will bring that opportunity, and a lot of Indians here will definitely take advantage of that, including myself, and I'll probably think of starting a business again. So this is really great and huge for both the countries, and I'm sure India will get a lot of good products from New Zealand, like honey and stuff, which is quite good.
And let's listen also to some reactions from industry leaders from New Zealand.
The FTA benefits both countries because it's the world's moving very fast. When we think about AI and technology, every industry is transforming really quickly. And New Zealand and India is the perfect partnership because New Zealand, because it's a tiny country in the bottom of the world, innovates, but partnership is very important and collaboration. We innovate to scale, to build global capability. That's in our DNA. India has tremendous ambition. It's digitizing, it's growing globally, and so the opportunity is really exciting to partner and collaborate and co-innovate together.
This FTA is a continuation of the partnership between New Zealand and India. We've been exporting apples to India for a very long time, and we see this as the next step. But additionally, we've been up in the regions of Himachal Pradesh and other apple growing regions working with the growers, and we're really excited to get started.
And our correspondent Shama Mishra in Mumbai caught up with Sunita Ramnathkar, who is the president of the Indian Merchant Chambers, one of the oldest trade associations in our country. Let's listen in.
How do you view various sectors benefiting from this particular FTA?
We will be very well positioned because we have 100% no duty entry into New Zealand, and we can, from day one, we can export anything without duty to New Zealand.
How do you see the future for the professionals, for students who will be, wanting to go there and work or study and then can, translate it into employment?
The professionals will be given visas. They can be migrated to New Zealand. Already there are about 300,000 Indians there. Professional Indians, people who are required to in New Zealand, will get a smooth entry into New Zealand.
All right. Thank you very much for talking to us, ma'am.
Well, the total trade in goods and services between India and New Zealand reached nearly $2.4 billion in the financial year 2024-25. The two countries have also seen a significant rise in merchandise bilateral trade. This report tells us more.
India and New Zealand's partnership is shaped by both economic and strong people-to-people ties. New Zealand is India's second largest trading partner in Oceania. Around 3 lakh people of Indian origin and NRIs live in New Zealand, making up nearly 5% of its population. India is also the second largest source of international students in New Zealand. The total trade in goods and services between India and New Zealand stood at nearly $2.4 billion in financial year 2024-25. India and New Zealand's merchandise bilateral trade rose from $855 million in 2015-2016 to nearly $1.3 billion in 2024-25. India's services exports to New Zealand grew by 13% in 2024, reaching $634 million. Major sectors included travel and IT. India's major exports to New Zealand include pharmaceuticals, pearls, precious stones, and metals. While New Zealand's major exports to India are wool, iron and steel, fruited nuts, and aluminium. Major Indian companies present in New Zealand are HCL, Tech Mahindra, Infosys, and Bank of Baroda. Leading companies from New Zealand, which have a substantial business undertakings in India, are Gallagher Group, Hamilton Jet, and Redesign Group. Notably, Recon Limited established a manufacturing unit in Bangalore through a joint venture with Centum Electronics Limited, specializing in telecommunications products. Their chips were used in India's Chandrayaan 3 lunar mission. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, India's trade pact with New Zealand marks another rapid, high-impact FTA in India's expanding global trade network. It reflects India's push to build strategic trade and investment partnerships that support the Viksit Bharat 2047 growth vision. More in this report.
As India formally signs a free trade agreement with New Zealand, the country takes another step in its strategy to build strong trade and investment partnerships that support the Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. This agreement is more than trade. It positions India as a major player in global supply chains. The negotiations began in March 2025 when India and New Zealand showed determination to improve trade ties. Both sides moved quickly. India wanted a partner with strong agricultural, education, and technology strengths, and New Zealand wanted deeper access to India's fast-growing market. Between April and August 2025, the talks were fast-tracked, with negotiators meeting through 5 rapid rounds of talk focusing on tariff reduction, services mobility, investment flows, digital and education cooperation. India made its priorities clear: full access for Indian exports, strict protection for sensitive farm sectors, and new opportunities for skilled professionals. By September, both sides had resolved most chapters, and on December 22, 2025, the agreement was formally concluded, one of India's fastest FTA closures ever, completed in just 9 months. Legal scrutiny and appropriate vetting followed in early 2026. The FTA aims to double bilateral trade to $5 billion in 5 years, unlock $20 billion in investment over 15 years, provide 100% duty-free access for Indian exports, offer 95% tariff elimination for New Zealand goods excluding sensitive items. Dairy, onions, sugar, spices, edible oils, and rubber remain fully protected, a consistent feature of India's recent trade strategy. The agreement includes a strong services chapter covering IT, healthcare, education, and engineering, a mobility pathway offering 5,000 skilled occupation visas annually, a first ever annex on health and traditional medicine services, new cooperation in digital trade, innovation, and clean energy. This is designed to support India's long-term economic transformation goals under Viksit Bharat 2047. How this FTA compares to India's recent deals. India is moving toward rapid, targeted FTAs with speed and precision. New Zealand FTA 9 months, Australia ECTA 6 months, UAE SEPA 88 days, Oman SEPA 7 months. High liberalization plus strict farm safeguards. India secures 100% duty-free access in most recent FTAs. Partners receive 85 to 95% tariff elimination with agriculture protected. Services and talent mobility are now core pillars. In case of Australia, post-study visas, work mobility took the center stage. For UK, it was mobility. And in case of New Zealand, it's 5,000 skilled visas annually. FTAs are being used as economic accelerators for the Viksit Bharat 2047 roadmap. Call it strategic alignment. All recent FTAs emphasize supply chain resilience, technology and innovation, investment facilitation, clean energy cooperation. The India-New Zealand FTA is not an isolated deal. It is a part of India's strategic trade architecture, energizing its journey toward a developed nation by 2047. Bureau Report, DD India.
In the last one decade, India has emerged as decisive and confident, redrawing and redefining the map of global trade and also charting a modern, future-ready new generation of free trade agreements. So let's take a look at this report by Aarti Rana.
India ranks third among global South economies in terms of the Diversity Index of Trade Partnerships, according to UN's Trade and Development Report 2025. India has steadily expanded its network of free trade agreements over the past few years, reaching 9 FTAs spanning 38 countries, including the recent India-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement. Starting with India-Mauritius on February 22, 2021, India and Mauritius signed the landmark Comprehensive Economic Cooperation and Partnership Agreement, the first such trade pact between India and an African country. Then India-UAE Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement followed in May 2022. India-Australia Economic and Trade Agreement was implemented in December 2022. India-FTA Trade and Economic Partnership Agreement, effective from October 1, 2025, is a landmark pact between India and the European Free Trade Association, including Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. India-UK CETA was signed in July 2025 and India-Oman CEPA in December 2025. Hailed as the mother of all deals, the conclusion of negotiations between India and the European Union Free Trade Agreement in January 2026 marks a significant milestone in one of India's most strategic economic partnerships. With the United States, we have delivered framework for an interim agreement on 7th February 2026 and cemented our global trade footprint. Every agreement has been unique and a recognition of the scale of our market, our economic potential, and the trust in the capabilities of 1.4 billion Indians. India has negotiated FTAs with openness, balance, and a national priority of an Atmanirbhar Bharat. The interests of all sensitive sectors, including dairy, agriculture, farmers, and domestic industry, have been protected and market access has been safeguarded. This is India negotiating from strength to usher in an age of transformation in trade and fulfilling the aspirations of our people. India is leading the way to Viksit Bharat at 2047. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, earlier, the Union Minister Piyush Goyal hailed the India-New Zealand Free Trade Agreement as a landmark woman-led pact that acts as a win for exports as well as a shield for farmers. The minister said that the India-New Zealand FTA has a number of key aspects. The first and foremost, it's that it's a deal that was negotiated in a record 9 months. The negotiating team, in fact, from the chief negotiator and deputy chief negotiator to track leads for goods, services and investment was led by women, he said, and he writes that the FTA would work as a shield for farmers. Goyal also emphasized that this FTA demonstrates India's confident trade strategy of partnering with developed economies while safeguarding domestic interests. And with a nominal GDP of $4.19 trillion in 2025, India is among the world's top investment destinations. This report has the details and we leave you with this report. Thank you very much for watching our special program. Namaskar.
India stands as one of the world's most compelling investment destinations. A global powerhouse with a nominal GDP estimated at $4.19 trillion in 2025. A stable government, a fast-growing economy, and the largest market of opportunity anywhere. India isn't just growing, it's redefining global growth. This confidence didn't emerge in isolation. It's the result of a clear, reform-driven agenda. Flagship initiatives like Make in India, GST, and sectoral liberalization have built long-term trust. On the procedural side, over 47,000 compliances have been reduced. the Jan Vishwas Act stands as a significant milestone in India's regulatory reform journey. Reflecting the government's commitment to minimum government, maximum governance. At the same time, India is leading the digital future with over 1 billion internet users and a thriving UPI-driven fintech ecosystem enabling speed, scale, and transparency. Every rupee of FDI is a vote of confidence in our journey towards a Viksit Bharat. With FDI up to 100% through the automatic route in most sectors, inflows have surged to over $81 billion in FY 2024-25. In the last 11 years, India has received $748 billion in FDI, nearly 70% of all FDI received in the last quarter century. India's manufacturing sector alone has seen a 69% surge in FDI equity inflows, supported by progressive liberalization in defense, telecom, and space. Leading global venture capital investors have generated returns ranging from 50 times on their early investments in India, highlighting the scale of long-term value creation. India's growth is powered by its people. With a young, skilled population of over 1.4 billion aspiring citizens, one of the world's largest STEM graduate pipelines, and a strong national focus on skill development, India offers unmatched talent at scale. This foundation supports a vibrant startup ecosystem, driving innovation, entrepreneurship, and technology-led growth. India's long-term growth trajectory is anchored in political stability, policy continuity, and decisive governance, providing predictability and confidence for long-term investment decisions. India's growth story is driven by 10 Ds: democracy, demography, demand, digitalization, development, decarbonization, diversification, discipline, domestic manufacturing, and decisive governance, forming a resilient and future-ready growth engine. So, why invest in India? Because this is where India's multifold growth translates into multifold opportunities for your investments. India is not just a destination, it's your next big move. Come, invest and grow with India.